Do some people pulled over by Lee County Sheriff's Office deputies receive special treatment? That is what one former deputy claims is happening. Welcome back. I'm Claire Galtz.
I'm Chris Safadi. The deposition of that former deputy calls into question the potential special treatment given to those in the department. Wink News anchor Liz Byro has testimony that seems to show an off-duty deputy was let out of a DUI.
Let me set the stage for you. Here's where it started, the corner of Lee Boulevard and Sunshine Boulevard. This is the spot where then Deputy Christopher Link pulled over an off-duty coworker for the second time in a week for speeding. But on this stop, he says his coworker appeared to have been drinking. That's where the lines start to blur. As Wink investigations first reported last year, Link arrested the off-duty deputy, Michael Soto. Wink has GPS logs from every LCSO car involved with Soto's incident. This is the data from Link's car. Starting at 3:46 a.m., he drives Soto west down Lee Boulevard toward the jail. At 4 a.m., logs show Link is called back. He promptly turns around, heading the other way on Lee Boulevard, bringing Soto back to the scene. Link reiterated that timeline and filled in some blanks of what he said really happened that night when testifying under oath in another DUI case. One where attorney Michael Colombo's client was arrested for DUI by Link.
Was there bias? Was there motive? Was there prejudice? Can you discern the ability between a medical event and someone under the influence of a chemical substance?
Colombo's goal in sitting down with Link to get to the bottom of what happened the night of Soto's arrest and how it might pertain to his client's arrest.
Link is listed as a state expert.
A DRE, drug recognition expert. Documents obtained by Wink Investigates show on the scene, Link marked Soto did a, quote, poor job with field sobriety tests. A higher-ranked Commander James Baglioli, who showed up to the scene later, wrote in his report, Deputy Soto, ill, not impaired.
Do you think this deposition helped prove that point, that he could not tell between ill or impaired?
I think the deposition opened a whole lot of different doors that I wasn't prepared for. I didn't have any idea what Link was going to say.
This 105-page deposition is the result, one where Link stands by his call. I asked Colombo to read parts of the deposition.
Did you smell anything on him when you got to him? And Link's response was yes. My next question was, all right, well, tell me what you smelled. Alcohol. Was it emanating from his breath or on his person? Or Link's response was breath, person, he reeked of it.
In another excerpt, Link said, quote, it was overwhelming as far as his field sobriety performance and what I was seeing of him.
The fact that Chris Link was as adamant as he was during our deposition that this wasn't a medical event, I certainly believe that calls into question what actually happened roadside.
Flash forward to Link driving Soto, who was in handcuffs, under arrest, to jail.
I asked Deputy Link, and then you were told to bring him back to the scene, and Deputy Link's response was, Sergeant Jelly said on the radio that he had to tell me something, and he needed me to come back to the scene. But what happened when you got back? When I got back to the scene, I pulled up. At this time, I could see Commander Boglioli was on scene, and he was standing with Sergeant Jelly. When I pulled up, I opened my door, and Sergeant Jelly started to berate me about leaving the scene. And then I asked, well, okay, Sergeant Jelly started to berate you? Correct. What did he say? What are you doing? Why are you leaving the scene? You know, pretty much straight up yelling at me like I was a child.
Link told Colombo he stood there for a good 45 minutes while Jelly and Baglioli were making phone calls and talking with each other.
So later in the deposition, Deputy Link told me that Commander Boglioli and Sergeant Jelly walked up. Commander Boglioli said they wanted me to do an eval on him, and he physically did air quotes. Then I asked, Boglioli and Jelly wanted you to do an eval, meaning an evaluation on Soto. No, whoever they were talking to on the phone told Commander Boglioli to do an eval on Soto.
Link told Colombo he only saw Baglioli and Soto interact for, quote, probably 20 seconds before Commander Baglioli walked Soto to the back of his patrol car, put him in the back seat and walked over, gave me my handcuff key, and gave me my handcuffs.
So later in the deposition, after asking some questions, Link had told me I was adding 2 and 2 together at that point of what was happening. So my question to Deputy Link was, well, what was happening? I believe they were going to be unarresting him and taking him home.
Is that normal to have a 20, 30-second interaction and make a decision, do an evaluation in that time?
No, absolutely not. I was shocked by that. That's what Link is claiming. I don't know what Baglioli's going to claim. He wrote a report in this case. We've subpoenaed him to come to court. He has not come to court yet.
Colombo's firm Suarez, Rios, and Weinberg attempted to subpoena Baglioli twice without success. Link, Soto, and Baglioli are no longer with LCSO. Soto resigned last year after he was arrested and charged with shooting a weapon into a building. Link resigned while on administrative leave and in the middle of an unrelated internal affairs investigation. I reached out to all three for this story. I never heard back from Baglioli. I spoke to Link on the phone and he didn't want to comment on the deposition further. I got a hold of Soto and he hung up. Sergeant Jelly, who is still with LCSO, turned down my request for comment. The sheriff's office stands by what it told us last year, that Soto had a medical incident. The deposition, though, doesn't end there. Link made more claims of preferential treatment for relatives of deputies and for other first responders. Those claims all new at 7.